Well, Sarah, thanks so much for opening your garden gate for us. It's always a treat to see you. Now we're going to be turning our attention to planting for fall, and I'm joined by one of our favorite guests on Central Texas Gardener, Mary Irish. Welcome back to the program.
Thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure.
Well, you are now an official Texan for 3 years.
Yeah,
after
back to the home ground.
That's
right.
great. After authoring many fine books for the desert Southwest, you're now turning your attention to Texas. Your most recent book, A Place All Our Own, which is describes your garden.
It does. It's a memoir of a garden that Gary and I made for over 20 years in Scottsdale, Arizona. Yeah.
Anyway, you're like I said, it's a pleasure to see you, and we're talking about planting in the fall, and it is the perfect time for trees and a lot of perennials.
Yes, it is. It's an excellent time. The only exception is something that's very frost tender, and that's not going to be too many plants.
Right.
But woody plants in particular, and trees, they really love to be planted in the fall because they can establish that root system of what is normally a pretty benign winter from their point of view.
Yeah.
Get a nice hefty root system over that winter, and then next spring, they're ready to roll. They're ready to pop.
Yeah, they're ready to roll if you keep watering.
Well, or it rains. You know.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
There's all these predictions, but you never know.
That's true. But you're giving them a head start on the
You are giving them a head start. It is really easier for this plant. Oddly enough, it sounds kind of counterintuitive, but woody plants really like to grow their root systems and establish them first. And so you have this sort of nice, benign situation for them to do that. And then, boy, by the spring, they're ready to go.
Yeah, and the same is true for the perennials.
Getting
them started. But again, read the labels carefully, right?
Yes, indeed. Most natives, Central Texas natives, it's not a problem to plant them in the fall. It's very good. Again, it's kind of the same thing. It's a very tropical plant. It's a very frost tender plant. The fall is not advised. That's not a very good idea.
You need You need an established root system.
Right, exactly. And most of them, if it gets to be some kind of severe cold, that's very unexpected kind of thing, you might protect them just a little bit.
Right.
But really, it doesn't take very much. And they really perform. They really, really love it.
Size of the container matters in the fall too, doesn't it?
Somewhat. In perennials, it's probably better to start with something traditional 1 gallon.
Right.
The little 4-inch can be a little too small. Sometimes it sort of depends on the plant, but a traditional 1 gallon is the best.
Okay.
It's the most economical way to go.
Well, and there are a great number of trees we want to talk about here, and some that we haven't talked about in a while. Texas soapberry is a great plant.
This is a wonderful plant, either Texas soapberry or Western soapberry. It goes by many names. It's in the genus Sapindus, which refers to the fact that its fruit, in this case, and to some extent its roots, has saponins in it, which means you can make soap out of it. And soap used to be made, hence the name soapberry.
Right.
But what it really is a really big, tall, sort of either shrub or tree, multi-stemmed thing that's deciduous, but it turns a beautiful, glorious gold yellow in the fall. It's a beautiful plant. Has big heads of blooms.
Tough as nails,
Tough as nails. And it's tough as nails in almost the entire state. It has a big natural range, and it has a lot of cold tolerance. Couldn't care less what it grows in any kind of soil. It's really a handsome thing for a lot of areas. One thing to know about it is it can also make a nice hedge because it will spread a little if you allow it, especially when it's young. And if you allow it to continue, and it can make kind of a screen or a hedge.
A big screen.
Yes, it's a good sized plant.
Yeah.
This is a 25, 30-foot plant. Yeah.
Well, again, Western soapberry, terrific plant. Texas ash. When I think of Texas ash, I think this is maybe one of the most overlooked plants for Texas because fall color is spectacular on this plant.
It's really stunning, and like a lot of plants that turn color in the fall, it's kind of particular to individuals. All of them are beautiful, but every once in a while you get one that's just like going to knock you out. This is basically the Texas analog of the American ash.
Sure.
But does much better in alkaline soils, much better with less water and that sort of thing. But it's just this big shade tree that turns this gorgeous color in the fall.
Yeah, I remember one time I went to Lost Maples State Park at the height of Maples time. Prettiest tree in the park, Texas ash.
Texas ash, you bet. I have no doubt at all. Absolutely.
It was just glorious that year. Speaking of ashes,
the other one,
ash.
The other one, Greg. This is a relative term. It's not the towering thing that a big Texas ash would be. But it could be about a 20-foot tree when it's really big. It's also a wonderful shrub. It too starts out very multi stemmed in youth, and you can work it to a tree pretty easily. It's a great tree if you use it as a tree for a small area, because it isn't a towering, huge thing.
Is it an understory plant native?
Yes,
Okay,
a little bit.
So in a
And
little
it's also
shade.
kind of a creekside plant, although that makes it sound like it needs a lot of water, which it doesn't. This is a very western plant, and it has very small leaves. It is usually evergreen, or at least semi-evergreen. It doesn't have the spectacular color array of the big one, but it's a handsome plant and tough.
Well, we need those kind of plants
Oh, you do.
for screening and
Oh,
for
yeah.
wildlife habitat.
Oh, sure, and the unfortunate view. You know,
Right.
You do want to get rid of it. Yeah.
We all have.
We all have the unfortunate
Right.
view, or the neighbors.
Yeah, right. We have a little specimen of the next one, which is Texas torchwood. And when we started talking about this plant, you did what you just did, which is and ooh. You like this
It's a
plant.
big favorite. It's a big favorite. It's an even bigger favorite of my husband. It's fantastic. This again is a fairly small tree as trees go. You know, it's in that sort of 15 to 30, 20 foot. That's
Okay.
about right. As you can see, it's already starting. It has a very nice open kind of branch work. It will continue to look like this with these little three-part
It's
leaves.
nervous about me because I'm looking at it and
I know,
thinking bonsai.
Yeah, exactly. Poor little thing. Don't worry, I'll save you. But it's fragrant leaves, a little fragrance in the leaves. Very nice fragrant white flowers. and
Deer
pretty
resistant
little
because
berries.
of the fragrance, I hear.
Say it again.
Deer resistant?
Well, there's that rumor, you know, and I always consider it a rumor until you get to the deer who just loves this one. I can guarantee nothing about deer.
Right,
You know how they are.
But it sounds like a terrific plant.
It is. It's a beautiful small tree.
And flowers.
Yes, white flowers. They're lightly fragrant.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a really nice tree. I mean, the sweet thing. You'd want to
I'm
put it
te-
somewhere where you could appreciate its form.
I am tempted.
Oh, good.
I am tempted.
But not as bonsai, huh?
We shall see.
Yeah,
We shall see.
exactly.
Texas ebony is another great tree to consider.
You know, this was, when I lived in Arizona, this was one of the few trees that was a deep, dark evergreen that could take the conditions out there. And it's still the same here. This tree is so rugged. It's just wonderful. And it has a really dense, thick crown. And so it's a good, if you need deep shade, you want good shade. I've also been on projects where we used it, we didn't prune it, and we left it grow to the ground, and it becomes this, just like a hog fence. You know, it's just it's a terrific Perrier shrub planting if that's what you need.
Yeah.
It has also lightly fragrant clusters of white flowers, but these remarkable pods.
Right.
These long, curled, brown, kind
Right.
of fuzzy sort of pods that
yeah,
look like they're. One of the old common names for this was ape earrings,
Right.
because of these crazy pods. But you know, this plant is really, really beautiful. It's a little thorny, so you want to know about that. But it's just really, it's got that great deep dark color. You know,
Yeah.
if that's what you want.
I want to talk about some of the perennial plants too. I mean, I love
many.
there are lots to choose from. We have a couple of penstemons, and I am a big fan of the penstemons.
Yeah.
The rock penstemon is one that is really seems to be getting to catch on now as
I'm
a
glad
staple.
to hear it. You know, again, we're talking about a plant that it gets its name on purpose. In nature, like places like Langtree and some really western places, you find it kind of literally springing out of a rock with a crack in a rock, and so it wants spectacular drainage. It's alkaline friendly, and it really
sun.
hot sun. It wants to grow about as hard as you can get it. You know, it really does, and it rewards you mightily.
Yeah,
it's got really lovely flowers.
Yeah,
Lovely
big
red,
show of
big show.
flowers.
It also blooms a little later
blooms.
than some, you know, but not like summer, but I mean a little later into the season.
Yeah. The other penstemon is cobea, and this
my.
is one that grows in parts further east as well.
Yes, this is what I call the prairie native. You know, it's kind of a prairie plant all the way through Kansas and down into Texas, a little bit east, not a little bit east, that's right. This is one where if you have heavier soils or you have less rocky soils, this one will do quite well in there, as well as growing right around here. It doesn't really care, but it's a showy thing. It has big flowers, really large, like 2-inch flowers with a big open face to them,
Yeah.
and they're big, tall spikes. I mean, this thing kind of takes over when it's in bloom. It's really spectacular.
We have just enough time to give a quick shout out to snake herb. Tell me about snake herb.
Yay, snakes! Yay, snake herb. Snake herb is a low, kind of spreading perennial that's maybe a foot tall or so, with real purple flowers that are right in the base of the leaves. So they're kind of poking out from the leaves.
Love that.
And it's a very, very tough. This is another West Texas on into Mexico that wants spectacular drainage, grows right on the rocks, and loves the heat.
Okay, well, that's a couple of great suggestions there. The great list of trees as well.
Sure.
Mary Irish, thanks again for being on board here at Central Texas Gardener, and congratulations on the continuation of like the writing machine down there in Castroville, Texas.
Well, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure as always.
Great to see you. And coming up next is Daphne.